Okay, so how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Great, thank you. Okay, so what is it that you have here?
Oh, some white yam, Ghana yam, or say African yam.
Okay.
Some purple, Japanese purple, sweet potato. It's kind of sweet yam. And there's another one. This one's a white one, but it's Japanese as well. And then just your regular, small white potatoes. Yeah, these two I think are about the same. I was gonna put maybe one more sweet potato, but this is just a growing. The white yam was growing, and I think I might just try to put it in the soil just because I can.
Oh, nice.
But this thing actually needs a lot of heat.
Yeah.
I've tried to grow it before, and in the greenhouse it did grow, but it took forever. It only grew a little tiny little yam out of it. But yeah, it does.
So this one here, is that white potato or white sweet potato?
So this is white potato, and it's very important. So we don't recommend eating large potatoes because of the level of starch and sugar in it. We only recommend small white potatoes, particularly, just for. Not to say that you can't do other ones, but we take skins off of everything, so that's why they're there. Yeah.
Okay, so where do we start when we're cooking this ground buffalo?
Oh, okay. We got some bison. Yeah, buffalo. Great. Well, you always start with your canola, right? You don't have to use pretty much anything else. For lots of reasons why. And we can go into that. But I like to oil the sides of the pan. I don't know. I have this kind of old school, maybe, I don't know, maybe maybe I learned that in cooking class, I don't remember, but I like to, because I don't like things sticking to the pan, and it's harder to wash and clean and scrub out later when it's all kind of all over the place.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Some people use a spray. You can use a spray, right? The canola spray. That's what I would probably do if I had some. I used to have it, but sometimes it's not around, so I just do this.
Okay.
I get better at it. I like to get all the way to the edge. You got to get it to the end.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how, stuff goes, flies up and everything. So anyway, so that's pretty good. There we go. That's it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to put it in. There's no way I can rinse and wash the bison. So I'm just going to, the buffalo, we're going to put it straight in the pan. There's another one. We're going to have two of them, but this is just one for now, which is great. And we're just going to put it straight in. Take it up a bit. I don't know. Where do you go? That's it. To start off the top, you're going to need some salt, but not any salt, right? Always iodized salt, sea salt. And does anybody want to know why is it iodized sea
Yes,
salt?
tell us why.
Yeah, because the 1-2-3 ratio. It's really important to know, like, what's the 1-2-3 ratio? So that's the kind of the science part that is important to come and learn. I can't give you all the things, but I can give you some of the ideas of the reason why. And so salt has a 3-to-1 ratio, and it's really important. None of the other salts have that. So iodized salt is why we use it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So what temperature are we cooking the buffalo on right now?
It's a little bit high, sorry. I gotta try to turn it down. I'm looking for my spoon. There it is.
So is it medium high kind of thing?
No, I don't have to be too high. I think I just
Okay.
put it on because I want to get it going quicker, but
Okay.
yeah, we just want to saute it down. So,
Okay.
bison is it cooks very fast. So you really only need to, anything that's free range and organic, more like free range, but you only need to cook it for about 2.5 hours. And even that sounds like a long time, right?
Right.
But it's important that we get the reasons why we have to do that is also really important. I don't want to give everything away. You need to come and study the science, and that way you get to learn the inner workings of why these things are important.
Absolutely.
Right? So, we talked about it before, where sequestered animals, they also need to be cooked for 12 hours. That's 1 hour on the stove sauteing and 11 hours slow cook. Very important.
Okay.
And people don't know that, right? I mean, we know slow cooking, we do that, and we've been doing it for a long time. We understand that slow cooking is good for us, but we don't understand why or how. What's the purpose, right? Because you have to know the reasons. Why do we eat? Right? It's a question that needs to be answered.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, wow.
All right, not sticking anywhere. It's looking kind of good. All right, so just like let it stew down a little bit. I might put a little bit more salt later if we think, but the salt also has to cook. It has to break the bonds of the 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Right? And so if you don't break the bonds of the 3, 2, 1, then you're not getting any sodium.
Right.
The salt. You might have, like you say, you put salt on after you finish because you want to taste the salt, but you actually you're not getting any salt by doing that. It has to be put on a high temperature to to break the bonds of the 3, 2, 1.
So what's happening in your body with that substance if it's not salt? What is it?
Yeah, it's calcifying, right? It's causing blockages in your body. So I used to put the salt on after when I ate for a long time, and that's kind of what actually kind of got me into symptometry initially in the first place. Because none of the doctors and people I was asking and the health people, none of them know. I would walk and I hear this click, click, click. Because you're not hearing it today.
No.
Right? So what happened? Well, the salt was just accumulating in my feet and causing like an arthritis type of a like it started to get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, right? But so now I don't have that. But if I do eat salt like that, it does come back because I didn't cook the salt. I didn't do the 1, 2. I didn't have or if I'm using the wrong salt.
Right.
Like some of these other types of salts that are here, we're working our way through them. But technically, I had to cross off because I want to use this jar, so I crossed off and just made sure you can see the iodized salt. But it's very important that we only use this table salt, right? Everybody sees the blue box. People really knows what it's about. So there's other salts, as long as it's iodized, but it's not iodized sea salt. That's really, really important.
Why not sea salt?
Well, it's not 100% iodized salt. It's still in its state of sea salt, so it could be high in bromine, could be high in some of the other caking agents or other things that people may, fillers and stuff that people may have. But it's usually the natural, what salt is kind of grown in. It's like its natural state, and it wasn't made into iodized salt. It's a process, and it's very important.
Okay.
Yeah, we learned that.
So what's the next step here for the bison?
We're good for right now. We're going to let it saute a little bit for the first half an hour. So if I was in the slow cooker, what I normally do, because the slow cooker only goes for about 30 minutes, so I keep an eye on it, but keep it on the low. Just kind of saute. It's making its own gravy, right? It's got its own liquids happening. Perfect. You're not trying to cook it out or anything like that. And so it's about an hour. So I'll do a half an hour, let it saute. Then I'm going to use my homemade seasoning, my green gold, Kentucky's green gold seasoning. And now the seasoning is going to, and you can put your spices, right? All the different spices that are Sympto approved spices. And and just a little bit. You don't need a lot. Again, you let the meat and the flavor come out on its own, so you don't overpower it, the things. And of course, the other main thing actually is the onion, right? We have to cook onion as well. We cook with onion, but we don't eat the onion. So we're gonna cook this onion and saute it down. The white onion, specifically white. I don't have exactly the reason why it's white, the white onion per se, but there is some type of a reason. But as I said, even though it is, we can use other onions, but it's a kind of I wouldn't say it's a preference. I like it that way. I don't think it's something like that. I think it's a little bit more than that, but I don't have the skinny on that part yet. But and sometimes I just go like that, and it makes it easier to get the skins off. But that's about it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll give it a little bit of a rinse before. Now, onions and stuff don't usually go in the fridge, so they don't need, although they might stay in a cooler for a time, it's going to be cooked on a high temperature anyways, but usually before we cook our greens and everything, we always soak it in the salt water, right? The iodized salt water for that 8 minutes. So those are some of the key things why do we do that? Right, it's always about the cleanliness of the food, and there's major problems in our food, and we have to learn about what these problems are.
Right.
Right, we don't always know what the problems are. So science is really important, to learn science and find out what these problems are
Yeah.
and why. Yep. So we're gonna let that saute. So maybe let her. That was only like 5 minutes. So closer to 5:30, I'll put in some of the green seasoning, and then I'll let it stew down by itself. Add a little bit of water, and just let it cook down on its own. Now I can put I can put potatoes. Let's say if I was making a gravy or which I thought we might do. We were gonna try to make a white sauce buffalo today. So we're gonna make a roux. So we'll come back to that in a few minutes while we get the roux together, and we can talk about that in a minute.
Okay, sounds good.